Hi everybody, it's Keris here, helping you get into schools and nurseries, and I'm really excited to be joined by Jackie again today. Jackie, would you like to introduce yourself for anyone who doesn't know you yet?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone, my name's Jackie Stewart and I run Stageability, which is a drama business in Berkshire, mainly in the Reading and Wokingham areas, and we work in community classes, in schools, and also run a youth theatre.
Amazing. So Jackie, we knew each other before you started getting your business into schools and nurseries, but can you remember when you first decided to come on a 5-day challenge with me?
I think you did one right at the beginning of the pandemic, because I remember sitting in my garden in that lovely weather we all had, but I don't think that was the Approaching Schools one. I think that was, I don't know, there was another one, and then I did the schools one, and then I was like, wow, this lady gives so much out for free. Might see what else she does.
Brilliant. And what made you think, because you've obviously got a very established drama business in the community in Berkshire, what was it that made you want to think about getting into schools? What interested you about that, already having a very established business in the community?
I think it was a number of things really. I was certainly struggling to grow the community classes, not in terms of how many in each particular class, but in developing into new locations. And I'd just tried, I think, 3 different locations, 2 after school, which is what we'd always done. We always do weekdays after school. And then I'd even tried a Saturday morning class. And all of them, I'd got like 4 or 5 kids and then just couldn't build it anymore. And then my mum made a comment. She asked me how much profit I'd made at the end of one year. And I told her, and she said, oh, you can't seem to get past that mark, can you? So that really annoyed me. So it was I just wanted more growth, especially now the kids are growing up as well. When they were small, I didn't want it to grow too big. I wanted to be available for them. And then as they are growing up and getting more independent, I just wanted to grow the business and was struggling to find a way to do it. And then I think you started advertising the Approaching Schools Academy following the 5-day free challenge. And I thought, ooh, this could be interesting. Maybe we should try this route for a different line of income.
Yeah, and going on there, it's really interesting what you say there about, you were struggling to move past a certain kind of income level or profit level, as you say. You had this new class you were trying to open up in a new area and just wasn't quite happening for you. And did you, in terms of it being like an additional income stream for you, because I think I remember rightly, you used to have like parties and things like that going on before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And so getting into schools and nurseries, did this mean, in terms of, like you said, like having more daytime work and things like that, did it mean it was like a new kind of something new you could focus on for your business? So you've got like another way of making money? Is that kind of like how it worked as well?
Yeah, exactly that. So it was something extra to bolt on to what we offer. But we were already doing, we already teach drama classes to children. So we already know how to do it. It's just, that's where all the children are, in the school.
It's the captive audience, right? That's why I absolutely love about marketing to schools and nurseries you've got all your children there as a captive audience. And you've also got children who perhaps wouldn't be able to attend your community classes for any particular reason, but you and your teachers are now able to go to them, which is very exciting.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons I like working in the schools, because there's a lot of children whose parents just wouldn't even think about putting them in a drama class because they're football or they're dancing, and it allows us to open that world to children who might not otherwise do that, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I bet it must be really interesting as well in terms of parents. Like sometimes when we're marketing something to parents, because parents are the ones that we know are ultimately going to be the decision makers in the house, if you like, even if it's the students that you then work with, the thing about that is some parents might not realise that their children have certain interests, or that their children would have a certain interest if that world was opened up to them. So that must be really, really interesting, I think, when, you know, you've gone in and you've had a teacher demonstrate, like do a drama assembly or a mini drama workshop or something like that, and the children have gone home and nagged their parents and said how excited they are about the lady that came in and did drama with them today. And I bet it must be surprising for some parents if they hadn't really considered it as an option for their children before, maybe.
It is, and it's also nice when they, you know, if they sign them up to a club, and then I get messages saying like, oh, I never knew Frankie would be so dedicated in learning his lines. He hasn't put his script down all night.
Oh,
So, you know, quite amazed at, you know, the passion that some of the children are showing that they just didn't know was there before.
Oh, that's fantastic. So when you joined the 5-day challenge with me then, what was your kind of one big takeaway moment? Because we broke everything down into a step-by-step format for the week. By the end of the week, the idea was that you had your own high converting email or letter template that you could get sent out to your local schools straight away. What was it you really liked about the 5-day challenge? What was your aha moment for your business, would you say?
Well, probably every one of those steps. So where you broke it down into, you know, who you're sending it to, what the subject line should be, how to block the email, how much time you have to get their attention and what you should be saying first. All of that was just stuff I just wouldn't have known, and would probably have got very wrong, and probably wouldn't have had a response from schools. So all of it, I guess.
Brilliant. Oh, great. Fantastic. And as you mentioned, you did then decide to join the Approaching Schools Academy as part of your next steps. Tell me how that's helped you over the last, what is it, just over a year and a half now?
Well, you know, I was saying earlier about the elusive growth that was escaping me, that I just couldn't get past. Well, it's just knocked that out the water. It's been brilliant. So during the year of the Approaching Schools Academy, I was getting work from schools and kind of, you know, bolting on a drama club here and a drama club there as we went through the year, and ended up at the end of the year with, I think, 9 or 10 drama clubs. So working, I don't know whether I'm in the same position as some of your people in that I don't teach the after school clubs. I'm more involved in the youth theatre side of things. So I send people out. So my profit isn't as high as some others might be. But even bearing that in mind, I've still increased my company profits by a third.
Amazing.
I just think it's fantastic. So I was very pleased showing my mum that the following year and following the pandemic.
Absolutely. Janelle's here. Hello, Janelle. Janelle says amazing results. So let's just recap that then. So you'd gone from 0 to about 10 after school clubs through your team, and you'd previously struggled to grow your profit with your community classes alone, but now your company is up by a third in profits this year.
It is indeed, yeah. Which
Fantastic.
is astounding, and I'm just so grateful to you, Keris.
You're more than welcome. You did all the work.
I know, but it's like open my eyes to the opportunity, and I am quite focused and I do put the work in, but it's like the whole structure that you can just roll out again and again and again. So yeah, I've got, you know, don't want to sound like I'm a show off, but I'm earning quite nicely now, but I can just keep growing at whatever rate I want with this formula that just works.
Oh, I'm so chuffed for you. And I think that's a really important part of it, isn't it? Is that people might try and contact schools and maybe they haven't had a response, so they'll come on a 5-day challenge. They'll go and get, you know, some responses from what they've learned for free, but people always end up coming into the Approaching Schools Academy because they want that consistent approach. they realise that approaching schools isn't going to be a one and done thing. They can do it once with one template, but after that, what are they going to do to actually grow and scale the business? Whether they want to do that how you have with members of team, or whether they just want to get more daytime work for themselves, it's that consistent approach is the next step. Because yes, I can show you how to create a high converting template. Yes, I can tell you to follow that communication up until you start getting responses. But really, what are you going to do the rest of the year? And for us to have this kind of, to build a business around working with schools and nurseries, we do need to consistently approach schools and nurseries all year round. And what I loved, before we came on this call, we had a brief chat, and what I loved was hearing you say that I have something now that I can just repeat. And although we chatted last time and I told you I'd made an extra £21,000 from schools, now I can just repeat that process. Those were schools that were paying me that term or for a couple of terms, but now I can get some new schools on board. And tell me what you said actually about, before we came on this call, about drama classes just getting renewed in schools all the time.
Well, yeah, just that really, that it's almost not a worry, because once you have a drama, well, my experience is that once you have a drama club, I always check in with them. Were you happy with last term? Are you happy for us to come back? And it's always, yes, please come back. You know, like a no-brainer. Like once you're in, you are that school's drama club, unless you do something horrendous. I think that they're going to just keep wanting you to come back. You know, if you're reliable and the kids are loving it and the parents are loving it, I think it's just going to hopefully carry on and on. So, and it's nice because then you build a better relationship with the school. I've started talking to some people about World Book Day and Anti-Bullying Week. So once you're in and you get to know the team there, you can build the relationship further from there as well. It just keeps giving, Keris.
I love that. It does. Andy's here. Hello, Andy. Andy says awesome. Yeah, it's great to hear that, because you're absolutely right. This was my experience with dance clubs as well, and this is a lot of clients' kind of experience. People who've been through the Approaching Schools Academy, whatever activity they've got in the clubs, is easy for the school. It's a no-brainer for the school. If you do a good job, it's easier for them to keep renewing your club term on term on term, instead of finding a new one and seeing if they've got availability and
all the paperwork.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We're like trying to figure out like whether your team is going to be like reliable enough. All these things that they learn from you in your first term there. Do a good job, and you can expect to be there term on term on term and year on year. So it's a fantastic testament to how great you and your team are, Jackie. But like you said, this is then building relationships, because we talk a lot on the free challenge about building connections with people in schools and nurseries to get your foot in the door. But actually, once you've got that existing relationship with schools, you can nurture it further. So I know one of the things you've been looking at, Jackie, is whether you can upsell some of your current schools that are taking clubs from you to having daytime workshops with you or curricular lessons with you, for example. And that can always be the next step. It's so scalable from there, not just because you've learned a repeatable process to go out and get more schools, because I don't know, people who are working within a certain territorial area, there's only so far they can go with that, but actually then being able to build up into the school day or adding on packages. You mentioned some of the kind of awareness and celebration events coming up, like anti-bullying awareness is always a great one for kind of drama, dance, mental health, yoga, all sorts of things. And World Book Day is great for any subject, let's face it. And so you know, being able to offer these additional services so you can give extra value to schools, but also give extra outcomes to children, is a fantastic position for you to be in. And like you said, it can just grow and grow from there.
And the other thing to mention is that I've very much concentrated on primary schools.
Yeah.
Just because you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So I picked primary schools because I guess there's more of them around the local area. Well, I don't know. And I guess I felt it was an easier fit with what we already do, although we do teach senior students. But then since then, because we've got now a school section on our website, and I talk about the work that we do with schools on Facebook, I've now been contacted by a nursery and a secondary school to go in and do things for them as well. So it really is like a rolling, when you get those things rolling down the hill and it gathers moss as it goes.
Yeah. You're building momentum, aren't you? And it's that, I always say it's like that ripple effect. And Andy's here. I know Andy's noticed this in his business as well. And we'll come on to Andy's comment in a moment. But it is that you've started building momentum. I gave you the tools to approach your first few schools. This is going to pick up momentum now because, like Andy's saying in his comment, schools talk to other schools too. So there might be a feeder nursery that where the children tend to come up to your primary school, or same with the secondary schools. Some of the primary schools you work with might be feeder schools going up to those secondary schools. And people do talk to each other. Head teachers all know each other. Nursery managers might know each other, So there's this kind of, once you start talking about what you do and you're now able to talk in your marketing on your social media, that you do go into schools and that you do go into nurseries and you're able to provide some evidence of that on your social media. Now what you're experiencing is that ripple effect in your business because you made a start and the momentum built from there. And like Andy says, schools will talk to each other. So there's things we can do like putting social proof in our communications, which we'll talk about on next week's 5-day challenge. But also we want to bring in that bandwagon effect. We want to get head teachers talking to each other. And I know, Andy, you experienced this in a fantastic way because you actually literally had head teachers saying, are you getting him in? Like, you tell me what he's like and then we'll get him in. And that's what we want. But it's like you've got to make a start to start creating that momentum, which you're absolutely experiencing now, Jackie, which is brilliant. What other benefits have you found for your business specifically in either getting into the schools and nurseries or like learning some of the processes that you've learnt with me over the last year and a half?
Oh, that's a good question. Lots, really.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond the initial email, it's all the stuff that's in the academy, like the sales meeting and how to present your pricing packages, and how to price it and what to think about when you're pricing it, and how to attract great members of staff. I went all through that module because I needed some staff quite quickly, as you might remember.
Yeah.
And I've got some lovely team members now. So I've learned a lot from the rest of what's in the academy beyond that initial email. It's not just used in approaching schools. Like those teachers I can use in the community classes if I need cover or stuff like that. So everything's just building, but it's building at a pace that I feel comfortable with because I feel like all the support's there. So it's I've learned loads, and I like to feel that I'm always learning because you don't be doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, I've been doing the community classes for, I think it'll be 14 years this year.
Wow.
So they all run like clockwork. I love it. The kids change obviously coming through the school, but it's nice to have something fresh to work on and learn new stuff and get stuck into something and see the results quite quickly.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear, and great to hear that it's benefited other areas of your business too. So when I started including the attracting your team member stuff, it was because people were getting fully booked much sooner than they thought they might. And they were saying to me, well, Keris, I can't carry on learning your methods to approach schools at the moment because I need a team. And I said, well, that's a great problem to have, but in the interest of solving your problems, let's sort that out so that you can move on. So it's been really interesting, actually, the people we've been getting into the academy since then. They're either people like yourself who find yourself very, very busy and want to expand the team because you're getting extra bookings into schools and nurseries. There'll be people taking on their very, very first team member who want to learn kind of how to attract a reliable, loyal member of staff from the get-go. But there will also be people who are already completely fully booked to the max, would love to have an additional income stream like working with schools because it's going to help them scale the business, but can't see the wood for the trees because they know they're just fully booked at the moment. So being able to have instant access to that is helpful as well.
I remember when we first started talking, and you were, I can't remember at what point this was, but you were saying about doing work in schools and drama. I think it was when we were having our discovery call.
Yeah.
And I said, well, the thing is, I don't think I can do it because I haven't got any teachers that can teach during the day.
That's right, I remember. Yes.
Yeah, my 2 teachers are at home with their children during the day.
Yeah.
Little ones. And you were just like, well, find some more teachers. I hadn't even really thought about that. So it just seems so crazy now because, you know, also with Philippa, the mindset coach, being in the academy, it's just brought a whole new perspective to everything as well, like a kind of more of a growth mindset that, you know, bring on the challenge and we can sort something out to overcome it. So
yeah,
looking back now that I even said that,
it's funny, isn't it? The things that don't occur to us when we're in that phase of like growing our business, and we think, well, I can't do that because I haven't done that before. We kind of think, you know, like in your case, so well, I've got my 2 reliable teachers. They're not available in the day, so therefore I'm nice and comfortable here. Thank you very much. And I'll just stay with what we're doing. And it's normal. It's totally normal for us as business owners to have that. And like you said, it's the mindset, the additional mindset coaching you get from Philippa. So for anyone that isn't in the academy, you will get to meet Philippa. She's our approaching schools mindset expert, both from the point of view that she's a qualified mindset coach, but also from the point of view that she used to be a senior manager in a middle school. So she gets it from both angles, and she's very, very talented, isn't she, Philippa, at getting right to the root of your problem. Like, you might come on a call with Philippa and you might think that you know what the problem is and you want some help navigating this one particular issue. And my experience of Philippa is she'll say, well, no, actually, I think this is the problem. Have you considered it from this point of view?
Yeah, what I'm hearing is it's like not what you said, but actually is the actual root of the problem.
Yeah, so that's great to hear that it's really helped support you in that sense, because as you say, that's going to spill over into other elements of your business as well, not just the getting into schools and nurseries part. And Andy says, and they all got me in the end. So these were the head teachers that were all talking about Andy and whether they were going to get him in. They all got him in the end, which is fantastic. And it just goes to show that when we start building momentum, we absolutely bring that bandwagon effect into our business, which is what both of you experience. Brilliant. Jackie, do you have anything else you would like to say before we finish off?
Only that it's been such a change. It's been such a positive change. Just thinking back now to when I started, which was when all the schools were closed in January 2021. It was such a scary time with having come off the back of all the lockdowns and closures before that in 2020. That it's just been a really positive thing in my life, that this has worked and it's built things and it's got me into a really nice position, which is rolling out to the teachers and the pupils and all the families. So it's been brilliant. I can't thank you enough, and I can't say how brilliant it is enough to other people. So I would, if anyone is considering going into the 5-day challenge, just do it, because you'll get so much just from that. And then after that, the Approaching Schools Academy is the perfect add-on to really build the business. So it's been amazing. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. You're more than welcome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you again on the 5-day challenge, because we do get people, including my paying clients, just doing the 5-day challenge again and again and again, whether it's because they want that extra boost of motivation, whether they want that accountability and hand-holding, or whether they just want to, check in and get their questions answered, because that's something that you get all week, that you wouldn't normally necessarily get access to. Then it is the perfect time for people to be looking at contacting schools. So really pleased to have you on board again next week, Jackie, and I'll see you then.
Pleasure. See you then.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.